Welcome back to another episode of Duel Alliance with myself, Alicia Solomon, and Megan Hines, where we discuss the challenge. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, to discuss episode 5 of season 39. Finally, we get the mercenary part or the chaos part of the show where we get one of the champions come back into the house and try to win a pot of money. I don't know if I should say the nickname I said off air about this man. I will refrain because we are in the first 5 minutes of the show, but it may come out again at some point. But yeah, we got Jordan back this week to go against the losers of the house. That's what I'm calling them because none of them have won. And it was definitely an interesting twist. We knew it was coming, but there are also things behind the scenes that are coming out now after the show was aired last night that we are going to discuss because, as the challenge always seems to do, is rig. One of the things that they love to do is rig a damn show.
Favorite thing. It's their favorite thing to do. Like, it's always something with them. Always got something up their sleeve. But the countdown clock, it was going down. Did it ruin Kylan's celebration after his elimination win? It sure did. Because Kylan came in the house, he was like, "Yay, I won my elimination." And they noticed the clock was going down at 13 hours. And like, oh shit, there's a clock. We've been sitting here all the whole time. We haven't seen it. It's been here in our whole face. But chaos is happening within 13 hours. And they got hype about this.
I mean, what were they going to do for Kylan anyway? Like, all they're going to do is pat Kylan on the back and say, good job and welcome back. So I don't think it ruined anything, honestly.
You know, he was just, this is the moment. He just wanted the moment to, like, be celebrated. And that was just cut short. But at this point, now that we know the countdown clock is coming down to the wire into chaos, we know the alliances are going to pick out one another in one way in this chaos segment. But it's very funny that how we have one big alliance in the USA people and a very small UK alliance, because we have those stragglers in the middle that go towards the Americans. So they have the numbers in the house. So it's really about to be open season on the UK people if someone continues to get power.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can talk about the alliances in general because I just don't I'm not feeling it. Like, it's right down the middle, but honestly, there's so many people from the other side that is intertwined that it just doesn't feel organic. Like, even with the Vacation Alliance that's been in the house, with Tori and Jordan Bananas, whoever, like, the main core people that are in that quote unquote Vacation Alliance, as we call it, it's kind of a core 5 to 7 people that we know that are in that alliance, right? And then there's always people that are kind of here and there, depending on who's in the house and casted. But with this, I just feel like it's a hot mess because it's like 10 people in one alliance, about 5 people in another alliance, and then some people in that alliance are dealing with the other people on the other side, so they're being saved by them. It just does not feel organic at all, and we'll see how this plays out, especially with the Corey part of this episode. But I just don't think it's organic, and I just think that even this is an individual game, like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, everyone's playing their own game and then trying to add the alliance on top of it, and they're not doing a good job of it.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, also, even though the UK alliance in a sense is very small, some of their competitors, I dare I say, are much better than who people we have on the USA side. Like, Kieran literally was second place on the Australian version. He lost to Troy. That man, and we know how Troy got down last season on World Champions. So even if like the UK group, whatever, is small, like of that core group, because of that core group is really just like Kieran, Callum, and James. I guess you want to put in like Big T and Melissa, but they have friends on the other side as well. So, but they're in the middle.
The only other person I would put is Zara. Like Zara is like only the clear UK person that's on that side, but she has so many people that are aligned on the American side, like Mariah and those other people. So like I said, it's just convoluted in such a way where it's not organic. Like let's all have our own individual alliances and people that we want to have our number ones and all of that. But this whole UK versus US alliance, it just next, like move it along.
It doesn't make sense for this format because it's more Americans here in the first place. So that don't make sense either. But it's just weird because people are going to get hit back from any which way, so it doesn't even matter. Um, After that, we go into the daily challenge, which is the first of the chaos segment of the show. And TJ said they'll be playing either in pairs or team during this stretch. And they'll be playing Upside Down World, where they'll be playing in pairs. And the teams will be strapped to a propeller that is mounted to the side of a truck. And as the truck speeds down a runway, the propeller will spin them around, and the pairs will attempt to collect rings at the top of the truck and land them on targets and poles along the runway. And if they land a ring into a target, that's worth 5 points. And if they land it into a pole, it is 10 points. The pair with the most points ends up winning. And TJ ends up pulling names out of the little machine, whatever. And we have our pairs in Asaf and Michelle, Callum and Colleen, Kieran and Zara, Corey and Raven, Ed Olivia, Emmanuel and Brenna, Jay and Melissa, Colin and Mariah, Big T and Horacio, and James and Nerese. A lot of it's very well balanced for a lot of the pairs, so this will be interesting for this episode.
I mean, I'm glad that they didn't have to pick their own pairs because I just feel like that would have been super boring. And especially with them trying to figure out this whole alliance crap, it just would have been a mess. So I'm glad that they kind of took that off their hands and just picked them in random pairs. The only pair that I really saw it for was probably, I mean, the one that did the worst though, was who was it? I think it was Jay and was it Jay and Melissa? Who did the worst? Somebody did worse, and I was just like, this is a really crappy showing. Like, I forget
I
who it
think it
was.
was Kieran and Zara.
Yes, Karen and Zara. That's who it was. Because Karen and Zara individually are like strong people. We saw how Zara was last season with Wes, and I thought that she would have been able to come into this house and kind of dominate that side of the women challengers in this house and get far. And maybe it was just the challenge itself, but Kieran and Zara just did not do anything. Like Kieran took a crap load of rings and just wasted them all and just threw them down, and that was the end of that. And it was kind of just like, okay, you just wasted all of your opportunity to get any kind of points, and that's it. It was kind of really disappointing to see that performance from him, especially just because Kieran has kind of been like a sneaky good person this season. I was just like, this is a 2-pack of ass. Like, what is this?
Yeah. Also, Emmanuel and Berna didn't do great either because Emmanuel took like a gang of like rings. Berna only got one, and that was like the only one I think she was able to get in. But Emmanuel kept grabbing them like handful of rings and just throwing them, and that was just horrible. Because I'm like, I get it. So a lot of the guys, they would be grabbing like multiple rings at once to just throw it, but you gotta have to save some for your partner. And luckily, that man was like, "I apologize to Brennan. I'll be better uh, to you as a partner." But that was just a bad showing for Emmanuel and Brenna because that was is odd.
Yeah, it definitely was not great for Emmanuel. And honestly, you don't even know if these pairs are going to continue for the next couple of challenges or the next portions. Like we don't know what's going to happen. So it's kind of like I wouldn't want to work with Emmanuel because he's just doing whatever. Like it's really that is truly chaotic what Emmanuel decided to do. But honestly, the most surprising, obviously, were Corey and Raven. I think with Corey having the length to reach the rings once he was down off the propeller and kind of closer to that side, and him getting those rings onto, onto the podiums and things like it was just like, all right, this is kind of a good showing, especially just for the both of them individually. We all know how Raven's game has been this season. Corey has kind of been on an up and down roller coaster too, and we'll get into Corey too because I cannot deal with this fake ass villain that is trying to come on my screen. I just can't. I truly cannot. But I would say for the both of them, they did a good job on this challenge.
Yeah, like they were really like head to head, like above everybody. And their rings and their moments, like they had a good rhythm from the start. Like a lot of people had like were very slow to start, and then they were able to get into rhythm. But out the gate, they were just good and consistent all the way through. So like at first, like Asaf and Michelle went, they were very slow to start, but at one point, Asaf got a groove and was able to get some in. At one point, Callum like wasn't doing great because at one point he actually got a bunch of rings as well. He was the one that got a bunch of rings out all at once, and it just didn't work at one point. But him getting a bunch of rings kind of helped him and Colleen because Colleen couldn't get anything. Like he couldn't get any targets done, but he was able to compensate for that and give them a good rhythm for that. But for the most part, a lot of people were just in rhythm and just didn't get to hit the targets at all. But like we said, Raven and Corey were just like consistent all the way through and were able to knock down their targets and hit the poles, which meant that they actually won this challenge, which isn't a surprise, but it's a surprise given how things are. But this is Raven's second challenge win as a partner, so that's nice for her.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good showing for Raven, just like we said, what she's been dealing with in these past couple of weeks in this game. And obviously with Corey, they've just been up and down, especially last week. Corey was in the middle of almost being put down for elimination. So now the both of them are safe. And the added to it is they get to choose somebody, one man, to go into elimination, but they have to do it right then and there, which I honestly liked because it gives less of the politics of, well, who should we pick? Who's our alliance? Who's this? Who's that? It's just like right off the rip, y'all two got to stand here and pick somebody. Like talk a little bit amongst yourselves, but you have to make a choice right now. And I just think that they did a poor job of choosing someone. I don't know why they decided to choose Asaf. Like their decision making did not make any sense. And of course, they edited Corey and Asaf having a conversation early in the episode, so to make the story and build up kind of make sense of why Asaf was so angry. And okay, granted, Asaf and Corey may have just came in the house and met, and then decided to have a friendship and conversation and kind of bond, which seems to be the case, at least in Corey's mind. And it makes sense because I don't know where they would know each other from, truly. Like, I guess in the challenge world, but whatever. So for Corey to say Asaf's name when Corey and Asaf had that conversation earlier, and it kind of was just like, we are aligned together. We're gonna help each other get each other through. Like Corey wants to be a villain so bad. I'm not sure why Raven was just like, okay, cool. Like I guess she didn't really have the ties to Asaf, but there's James. I'm sorry, James is standing right there. Why don't you pick him? Y'all were so gung ho about let's try to put James in last week. Let's do this, let's do that. And all of a sudden now it's no longer UK versus US. It's just whoever we decide to choose is who we decide to choose. And I really didn't understand the thought process between the two of them. Like I said, James is right there.
He was right there. But I think because Raven is so cool with Mariah, she wasn't going to say James. Corey was like, "Oh, I'm basically working and friends with everybody else. As soft as Spindle to me at this point in my game, I'm gonna throw him in." That was basically what happened, and I'm like, well. And Raven said, like, yo, he exposed himself to me of who he's aligned with. So, and he didn't say, oh, I'm aligned with Asaf. He said everybody else's names that he was aligned with. Asaf did not come up at once. And that's just bad for his game overall. Because I'm like, Raven can't keep her mouth shut for nothing. So if Raven goes and tells somebody that it's on the US group, it's gonna be known that this man can't be trusted. And we saw what happened later on in the episode where he exposed himself once again. So I'm like, you can't expose yourself to somebody who you may not be a partner with next week either. That's not good for your game. And also, I don't like that. That man be annoying me. I'm like, I can't. You can't be a villain and then try to act unbothered when you don't have the personality to do that.
That's a fact. I don't know. First of all, I don't know where him and Omarosa went to get this red leather to decide to become villains. Like, where did you both shop at to decide and sit and wear this cheap ass red leather on our shows? Like, I see Omarosa in these whack ass red leather pants on House of Villains. He got the vest to match. Like, please give it up, Delicious. You look a mess. I just can't with Corey. Like, he's just not giving what he thought he is. I get you're trying to blindside and make a move, but honestly, dude, it's just not working. And Michelle was pissed because Michelle was attached to Asaf in this challenge and she didn't know how that would affect her moving forward because even though TJ said to pick a man, there's always twists. This is the chaos portion. You don't know if a woman is going to get called down too. So Michelle was obviously pissed with Corey because of it. And it just, like you said, exposed Corey and who he's aligned with. And I don't think Raven should have to tell anyone. I think it's clear because Corey said it out of his mouth in front of everyone, like, I'm friends with every other man up here except for Asaf. And obviously, Asaf had this whole spiel about him being besties with Corey in his mind. You know, him and Corey were the best of friends. Clearly, he was his number two besides Jay. So Asaf would have ride or died for Corey. And Asaf was just left out to the wolves. And that was that on that. But and he called him a bitch, which was pretty funny. Because the way he added it at the end, like he was just like, yeah, bitch. I'm like, oh, you get a little spicy here and stuff. Like, I like it though, because it's good drama, but still, I just think that Corey is a whack villain. Raven is just clueless. Raven is just there. I don't even think she really had a voice. I'm sorry. Like, I love Raven, but girl, speak up. We can't hear you. Like, what's up?
Yeah, it's funny because when Asaf went off with Corey, I really wrote as a question, why can't we be friends? Because why is it always somebody that has got to like throw a shot at somebody too early? If you wanted to throw a shot at Asaf, now is not the time. Because that man is no threat to your game at this point. Because in his mind, he was aligned with you. He wasn't going to go at you right now. Like, at this point in the game, it was best for Corey in his interest to go after somebody who he actually doesn't have a connection with. I'm like, you are not friends with James. But we saw them talk later on, but I'm like, you're not that close to that man. Right, but at this point, once you made your move, you got straight towards him because all your people are pissed off at you.
Yeah, it's just poor decision making from Corey. That's just it. He didn't think it
Yep.
through. And yeah.
Yep. And at one point at the bar, I'm skipping through scenes just to keep this together. Um, Asaf was still pissed off at Corey while talking to Horacio, and he was like, "You can backstab your friend, but this is not the time to do so." Basically, like he was like, "We're friends. Like I feel backstab. I feel done wrong. I'm not focused on you. I'm focused on other people. Worry about them and not me. That's that." And then obviously Michelle said she was still pissed at Corey, and her talking to Corey had him a little bit emotional because like he didn't realize that that affected her. And I'm like, yeah, it sure did. Because like even though TJ said pick a man, we don't know what the hell happens in the show. They can change your mind at any point. We could have gotten 2 champions tonight for them to go against, but no. But I get like people like, oh no, he said pick a man. Michelle didn't need to worry. But in the moment, she didn't know that because she thought she may be vulnerable. She may have to pick somebody else as a partner. We didn't know. So I get it. I get though.
Yeah, it's basically just a game of semantics. Like, okay, TJ said to pick a man, picked a man, that was the end of that. And so obviously Michelle, just like we've seen this whole season, people are just overthinking the game just because it's so many twists and turns that they don't know and there's no consistency that they know about in this game. It's easy for people to start freaking out and overthinking and trying to just come up with things that would make sense or what's going to happen when they really don't know what's going to happen. So I mean, Michelle is valid in her feeling like you just put me out to ice because I was attached to this person. But like I said, it just honestly the Asaf Corey thing just seems one sided. Like Asaf really felt like, yo, that was his man's. And Corey was like, bro, I just met you 2 weeks ago when we got in this house. Like, it's nothing really for us to talk about here. And that's totally valid too. But I just think that the whole situation as a whole, it just exposed Corey and his game. And like we seen it when he tried to smear Zara's name and start going and saying her name around the house. Like he really doesn't have any morals to stand on at all. Like he just does not politically know how to play this game. And in this situation, you have to know how to be strategic. If you want to be the villain, if you want to be the person who blindsides and do all this other things, you have to know how to play it with strategy. And Corey just doesn't know how to do that because he does not have the resume to do that. He got out super early the last time he was here. He's just been watching the show as the rest of us. So he really doesn't know how to play this game in the house with people. I just think that his gameplay needs a little tweaking and a little work for him to really, maneuver and plot out the moves that he was trying to make. So that's my only thing with Corey is just like you're trying too hard and it's not working, and neither are the confessional outfits. Just please. And that lace, like, what is this? Okay, I just can't. I can't. I'm sorry.
it's it's just everything, but it's just I'm just an, I keep saying I feel like Corey's a good person. He just needs to shut up at times. That's my only issue with that man. Just to shut up and just observe and listen. Like it's just bad gameplay overall. Like you can't come in and expose yourself. You've 3 times at this point. It's just horrible. And my other thought was that you're in an alliance still with Asaf. That's the only part that also pissed me off. I'm like, why are you trying to call out Asaf and you have other people that you're not aligned with that could have been an option? That was dumb. Like, this is why you stayed at home and tweeted with us last season. So that's the last 2 cents on that part.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we went into deliberation, and if not them, then who? Asaf wanted to place Karen elimination. That's what we wanted. And Michelle was still a little bit weary because if Asaf wanted to face Karen, there's a possibility of possibly facing Zara for her. And she's like, damn, if I have to pay Zara, that's stiff competition. But she was like, oh, also, if I can finagle my way out of it, it'd be fine too. Because she has people on the other team, other pairs that she's cool with that have her back. So that was what she was like leaning back on. But at the same time, like, okay, if we have these 2 guys, where do her and Zara even factor into this? Which we saw how they didn't, because it's going to be just a guy elimination day.
Yeah, again, the overthinking, it just at this point it really doesn't matter. But I think we're on to the fact that right now too many people are too friendly with everyone. It's like because she basically said, if I go against Zara, that's cool because Zara's really not like in her alliance per se, like in her immediate alliance, and she's obviously a UK person, so Zara is stiff competition, but she's on the UK side. But then everyone else in the house is her friend, and she doesn't want to go against her friends. My good sister, you're gonna have to go against somebody eventually. So pick somebody now and get it over with because it can't be we're all friends here and it's so hard to choose and my heart is breaking and aching because I have to choose you. Like enough of this.
It's not. It's not. We're not watching Friends. We're watching a challenge, and y'all are playing as individuals. Having your alliances can get you far, but in this game, this is being way too friendly at this point. This is like the first season where we've seen everybody just be openly friendly and don't want to do anything. Like we've never seen people burn votes so early in the season like they did. They're not smart and they're just playing friends, and that's not going to get you a win at the end of the day.
This is why they all are losers, essentially, because they just don't know how to play the game.
Yeah. And so who Asaf is likely facing, at deliberation, he went back in on Corey, called him Snake, said that Corey lied to him about who he's closest to in the house. Asaf pulled a chance. He was like, "Hey James, are you close to Corey? Horacio, are you closer to me?"
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
Corey.
When Asaf decided to do that, it was just like Asaf. We saw this play out one time with Chauncey, and it went horribly. Okay, it went to shit. Like the point was not made. The point is here, and this is where you at, my brother. It's really over you at this. It's above you at this point. Like, what are we even talking about here? Once Asaf decided to say, like, yo, Horacio, this to person, Jay, it's just like, let's not call anybody else out in the midst of everyone. Let's just make our own points and move on from there. Like we don't need to drag other people in there because I feel like they have individual conversations in the house and people agree in that moment, you know, when they have those one-on-ones. But when it comes to sitting amongst 20 other people, no one's going to expose their hand. So please, let's all just keep our own names and opinions to ourselves and just make our own points. I'm tired of people being like, "Yo, you agree with this too?" Like, "Yeah, yo, I know you with this." Like, please, enough.
And Corey's like, "Well, other people would have said Asaf's name, so it just had to be him to pull off the band-aid. It did not need to be you. Because at the end of the day, it might have been you to be the name to go in. How about that?"
I mean, last week it almost was. So I just think that who you're gonna go with, which side you're on. But I honestly think that Asaf was just so hurt because he thought that him and Corey was so cool. And it's just like, my guy, you got to understand how this game is being played. And Corey made himself known, like, yo, weeks ago, I'm not cool with you. Like, let's just move on. And that's just what it was.
Yeah, wait, Corey just sitting there unbothered, just like, listen, it is what it is. Like, there's nothing I can do for you, my brother. Asaf just said he wanted to face the fastest and strongest person. And Kieran, he told him to his face, "I want to face you." And that was the first vote for Kieran, and some of the UK girls voted for Emmanuel. Mariah voted for Emmanuel as well. When she voted for Emmanuel, she was like, "Oh, I'm close to Zara. I'm not gonna vote for Kieran." And someone was like, "Why would you do that?" And she turned to Zara. Like she was overthinking like her vote, but she was like, "I'm not gonna vote for that man."
I mean, obviously, Mariah is cool with James now. And so that's a part of her quote unquote alliance. Do I think it was like clouding her judgment as Jay thought it was? I don't really think so. Like, I really think she genuinely like fools with Zara. So I feel like she would have like tried to help Zara out in any way, regardless. And there's really no ties to Emmanuel. Like, I'm Emmanuel. I'm sorry, buddy. You bring nothing. So it to the point where it's just like, it's whatever. Like, people are gonna say your name. It is the game.
Yeah. And so most votes went towards Karen. It was a 9-4 vote. And Corey was so pissed off at Soft, he was like, I just want Karen to send that man home. And now I have an easy ride after that. Because if people are keep coming for me, it's gonna be a hard road for me to get to the end. If Karen sends home a Soft for me, I got an easy ride. Baby, you don't have an easy ride because you still got a tiger on your back. Because you're gonna be next to go. So that's that.
Can't wait, as Bart Scott once said. Can't wait.
And then we go to the arena, and they have Asaf and Karen down in San with TJ. We think that they'll be going against each other. But TJ tells them that they gotta beat the best if they want to be the best. And they bring out Jordan, who comes running into the arena, and his mission is to send a contender home and take $10,000 from the final prize pot.
Which I do like this from the game now. Did they even win any money in the challenge this week? Like, they didn't even play for any money.
Oh yeah,
So,
no.
like, what's happening here? So they just like playing a game now where they're taking money instead of winning money. Like, they didn't even add that aspect back into the game this week, which whatever. I mean, I guess it's not a team effort anymore because they played in partners. So, but they still could have won for the pot. This whole pot thing don't even make any sense, but whatever. I digress. Jordan comes in the house. Now he gets the opportunity to take money from them. I do like that aspect of the game. And, you know, obviously Jordan has won multiple finals. He's been on the show for, I guess, 9-10 seasons. So he has the experience. And Asaf, I have to commend his confidence. Like, Asaf was ready for whatever. He was like, I'll go against Kieran, I'll go against Jordan, I'll go against this person. I'll go anybody who was gonna be in front of Asaf, he was ready and willing to get down and dirty. But I can respect it just because at this point, that's all you have to do. You have to put your best foot forward, like in a mindset like that, bro. Like, you're down there. It's either you win or you go home to your child. So I respect Asaf for how, you know, he was feeling. Obviously, he was emotional with it, but I respect it. And Karen, too. Karen was ready for whatever. And then we have a draw, which is like, okay, I get it. To make it fair, to choose someone. But I would like to know what the blind item is. Like, is it the competitor getting to choose which person they want to go against? You know, is it the house decision? Like, I want to know what that blind item was, because it was obviously choosing either between Kieran or Asaf, and then the blind item, which we didn't get to see yet.
I feel like my theory is blind item is the champ can pick anybody to go against. That's my theory because them two are already an option. So that makes it fair for one of them to go in. But that blind option, I feel like they would get the choice to choose from anybody who is up on that stage. Because at the point, like,
Well, my thing is, no one was dressed.
people have
You
gone. I know, but people have gone down at one point.
I get it. Yeah, yeah.
And gotten dressed. Like, literally, we
Yeah,
saw Zach and Amanda have to get dressed when Zach
yeah.
when they didn't agree. So that
Sure.
would have been that case, because that would be funny for that to happen if
Yeah.
a champ decided, hey, I'm not going to say one of these people. I'm not going to choose one of these two people. I'll go get somebody else that's up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would make sense.
I would like to see it. I would like to see it.
Yeah. We'll see if that holds true throughout this chaos segment. But in the draw, like we said, we had one poll with Asaf's name, one with Kieran's name, and the blank one, and Jordan ended up pulling Kieran's name. And so Jordan and Kieran will be going head to head in the elimination, which it was a good showing. If you're looking at it from a casuals line of view, it was a good head-to-head matchup. if you look at it from a whole view, it was a good matchup. However, there were some inconsistencies.
Let's talk about it.
So the game that they played, it was called King of the Hills, where it was played in 3 rounds, and they would have to run up the hills to 3 lights that would turn on randomly, and the first player to press the button at the light gets a point. The player with the most points after a minute will win the round. Very straightforward. It was overall was a good showing for Kieran and both of them, I would say, because Kieran got it in round 1 with 6-3. But it was just strategically, Kieran had to like break things out because he was just running and just getting to it. From a casual point of view, like, okay, makes sense. Like, let's run to try to get to that. And whereas like Jordan, he was like sitting waiting to go and beat him to that point, or just stay on one side.
Yeah, Jordan was definitely trying to play mind games, as he decided to call it. And, after round 2, once Kieran won, Jordan was like, you know what? I'm not even going to play. Like, I'm not even going to move. I'm just going to make, Kieran go at it. So he gave him 2, according to Jordan. He gave Kieran 2 and let him go. And then once he gave him those 2, again, this is what they showed. Jordan turned it up, and he just decided to play hardball and was just going after each one of them. So he honestly was waiting for him. At some points, he ran up the ramp and was just standing there and waited for Kieran to come to try to get it too, and then hit it right before Kieran came up. And I was like, okay, I get it. Like, you're trying to be Mr. Megamind here, but honestly, like, it's whatever. Like, I get the showing of what he was trying to do. I get, the gameplay that he had to turn on to be a champ and all this other crap that he was trying to spew in these speeches. Like, dude, just shut up. Like, the whole speech, and to be a champ, you gotta do this, and you gotta, like, my man, please just take the money and go. Take your appearance fee check and please leave our screen. Like, we don't need the speech. We don't need the extras. We don't need the dry speech. Like, you're sitting on your couch waiting for an opportunity. You got to get it now. It's just like, boy, pack it up. Pack it up. But I felt bad for Kieran because Kieran was trying his best. I really think that Kieran had an opportunity to win. And I was rooting for Kieran to win, not just because of the money aspect, just because I thought that Kieran was a good competitor, and there was a lot of other people in the house that he clearly was better than, that I would like for him to have that opportunity to be in the house so that he can beat those people and get to a final again and all that other stuff. So that was my only issue with that. But honestly, the Jordan aspect, Jordan played up who they wanted Jordan to play up to. Now, we could also talk about the other aspect of it where it's allegedly out there that this was rigged. Jordan at one point changed his shoes because he didn't have a grip on the floor or on the sand or whatever the case may be. And also just the fact that at some point, like, getting points, like, Kieran was winning, and they stopped the game because the rules weren't clear to some people. So we've had this before plenty of times where in eliminations, it seems like production has stepped in, and obviously where people say it, because there were a lot of people who tweeted after the fact, like Michelle, even Maurice last night, like, even though her tweet this today was a little bit different of kind of what she was saying last night. Maurice was like, I wish I would have saw the whole elimination rather than what was edited. Michelle had the same kind of sentiments. So it seems as if though that Jordan was losing. They stopped the game, reset, and then somehow miraculously Jordan and his yellow sunshine shoes decided to win. Who knows?
Yeah, it's just apparently there's also a fight. I don't know if it was confirmation that there was like a full on fight in the elimination, but we saw them tussling a bit in round 3, and I'm like, okay, Once like Jordan in round three was like just standing at the ramp, that's when I'm like, I don't know if this is actually strategic or if they really did plant something in his ear, like, hey, this is gonna be right here. This is gonna be right here. Because he literally just stayed on one side throughout that whole last round. And I'm like, I don't I don't like this because it just it cheapens what this season's supposed to be and why they have these people here. I'm like, y'all are calling them weak, but you have this man who is a champion, um, basically playing into y'all's hand, allegedly, and just playing with that man that's like fighting for his life in the game. For what reason? To help the storyline of taking their money and pushing them to do whatever. I don't know. Like, this is chaos. I get it. This like amp up like this chaos segment of it, but it's just weird how they would do it in this way and people blatantly knowing, like, seeing like, I don't think this is true to what happened. Obviously, what the cast said for the most part and what we see, it's just bad all around.
I mean, it's nothing new to this show. That's the point. It's just like sometimes the integrity of this show just shows its ass, and it's not very clear on, well, it's very clear what they're trying to promote and what they want, but you're doing one thing and showing another. So that's where the disconnect is in terms of just long time viewership of the show. I get it. You want Jordan to come in, you want him to win, take the money. That's a great storyline. Karen loses or Asaf loses, whoever it is. And that's just the end of that. That's what they want. But I think with the inconsistencies that were there, and then obviously what some of the cast are saying, and what's being shown and the theories out there, it just makes it a little disingenuous in just watching the show altogether. And like I said, it's nothing new with this show. So I don't know what's to happen in the future with any more of these people coming in and seeing how that plays out. But it is what it is at this point. I'm sad for Kieran not getting the opportunity to stay in the game longer and win.
Yeah. This is this is what happens when we have sports pundits who watch the show say, "Oh, this is America's fifth sport." That's what ruined this show. That's just when I get that point out. That's what ruined the show. Them calling this the America's fifth sport because it takes
First of
away
all,
from.
America's fifth sport is stripping. I think everybody should know that. We don't listen. Who listens to Bill Simmons at the end of the day? Like, you know what? I used to love Bill Simmons and what he was doing, but obviously things like morals and integrity are clear in your business, where you stand, how you move. Like, obviously he's on a different planet at this point. And Bill was somebody who definitely did watch the show previously. I think like a lot of old challenge series back in like 2008, 2009, he would talk about the real world and the challenge. He comes from that era of watching reality TV, so that's fine. And obviously you want to hype it up and make it seem like they're doing such amazing things at the time, which it was, because I feel like the challenge was on a different level than what it is now. It's definitely watered down like immensely to what it was in the beginning of the show and the seasons of it. But at this point, I don't think anyone should be still trying to punditly say that this is America's fifth sport. Like, please, no,
We
please.
had Dan Orlovsky calling out Fessy on national TV. Like, since Bill, we've had that man make these references to the show and the cast members throughout the last few seasons, and I'm like,
Which is great. I mean, I love Dan Orlovsky. I wish he just washed his towels more, but that's great for the show, for him to be on NFL Live, making reference to Fessy and whatever like. I feel like that's great ratings because, first of all, the ratings are not where they're supposed to be on the show. So, obviously, somebody who has a platform can go on the show. People may not get it. Like, people in middle America are not going to get the reference of what Dan Orlovsky is saying, but people like us who watch the show and have that intersectionality with sports and watching this reality show, it's like, You know what? That's cool. Like you made a reference to the challenge. Like even Drake has talked about it. Rihanna has talked about it. There's a lot of people in spaces that, speak about the challenge or connect with these people. That's all fine and dandy. I'm here for it because it helps the longevity of the show to keep going. However, sometimes it just gets to a point where the cast and the production and just the people behind it aren't keeping up with what's supposed to be the integrity of the show, which is making it what the show is, which is a two-pack of ass. Like, let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, they've lost their way. We're gonna move on from this, but they've lost their way. They don't have a direct identity. They've made themselves be something that they're not, and that's just what we got to live with for this season and moving forward. If, like we keep saying, if this continues on, but good on Jordan for getting his new shoes and taking the money and leaving.
Yeah, shout out to Dorothy. And I don't know what to say. Anyway, let's go to the tweets.
All right, so the tweets from this episode, a lot of them were commentary about the context of the episode and the elimination. Some were just hilarious. The first tweet comes from Corey Lay himself. He said, "Me to Asaf. This is not RuPaul's best friend race."
Next.
No, sir, no. That I will say that was a little bit funny. Like I like I like the get back. Just if you want to be get back, be real about it on TV. Because him trying to be unbothered towards that man on TV was totally horrible. Like there are moments where Corey he hits, moments he don't, and right now on TV it's not hidden. And when he goes at the women, that's not hidden. Just stand on business the right way. Next tweet. Jordan had a headset in his ear telling him which direction the light would go next.
I don't truly believe that. I mean, I just think that, yeah, they were playing a game. But he didn't, like for me, when I was watching it, it didn't seem like he was going up to one side or the other and just staying there. I feel like he was kind of trying to just play the law of averages. If one ramp went like lit up on one side, he went to the other side because he assumed that that other ramp was going up. I didn't think that he had production in his ear telling him what to do.
I don't either. It's just funny because it was that was a joke, which led to Narisa's tweet from today saying that it wasn't rigged. Like, baby, don't take Twitter too seriously. You should know that because you've been on Twitter for the past couple of years on your shows. Don't take Twitter too seriously. It was a joke. So you can say what you want to say, Miss Ma'am, but don't don't take a lot seriously on the internet because people just be joking. That's it. The next tweet, Nuri's trying to get her. Oh no, this is from G. He tweeted, "Nuri's trying to get back with Melissa next week. Nuri's, you can't fight. Melissa, little blonde ass, gonna do her in."
Oh Lord. I I didn't even see that part of the preview episode, so let's just see what happens. And we'll possibly have Grant on to talk about this because this seems like it'll be a mess.
It will, because me and Grant watched Nurys on X on the Beach, and Nurys on the same season as Farrah. Nurys got kicked in hoo ha by Farrah and didn't do nothing. That's I'm gonna leave it at that. um, the next tweet Okay, so it's more context from or more funny tweets. Kieran is actually beating him in the first 2 rounds, and they had to stop it and rearrange something due to the rules, and Jordan came back and won. And there were always going to be 5 rounds. It was going to be 5 rounds, but things changed.
I think 5 rounds is a lot. Like 5 rounds is dragging it. But also the time came out of nowhere, to be honest. Like they put the timer 30 seconds left or 33 seconds left. And so you saw where Jordan and Kieran were at essentially and how Kieran lost. Like where was the timer the whole time? Y'all decided 33 seconds late, like after y'all trying to end this, that y'all put the timer on. That just didn't make any sense. Like there was no fluidity with this thing.
Mm-mm. The next tweet is maybe the last one. I might have one more. The next tweet: blessings to whoever got to go against CT. That man ain't no joke. That'll be interesting to see who ends up in nation against that man, though. That would be funny.
I definitely would like to see who it was because we saw how CT came in the show and like yeah, CT is not one to be played with. So I'm definitely interested to see who it was. I hope it's Jay, actually.
Yes, we need a rematch. We need a rematch. That would be funny if it was Jay, but I don't know if it will be. The next tweet. Damn, Jordan beat that man down so hard he was crying harder than Michelle, Josh, and Corey combined.
He was definitely not crying harder than Josh. I'm sorry. Like, please. We've seen true tears, like buku tears from that man over less. So I just feel like Kieran was emotional just because, like I've been saying, he thought he really had an opportunity to win just because of the competition that was left in the house. So sorry to Kieran. Next time, hopefully he does get a call back to come back. I would like to see Kieran back on, this iteration of the show. I thought he was fine. I didn't have any major issues with him except for how he was trying to play Raven on the low, being a little slick, but whatever. No issues, but I do hope he gets a call back.
Yeah, same. Because, like, literally, we saw Josh cry over last season. And this man was just crying because he lost and was frustrated. So, hats off to him. Hopefully, we see him back. And those are all the tweets that I found interesting.
Well, that's it for this episode, and we will be back next week during the holidays, hopefully, to review the next episode of season 39. So thank you guys for listening. If you would like to follow us on Twitter, you can at Duel Alliance Pod. You can follow Megan at Mason Hines. You can follow myself at ace_s5. And you can watch this on YouTube if you would like at Duel Alliance Podcast. Thank you guys. Have a great week. See you guys.
Bye.